No, it's okay. Sorry. All right, here we go. This is the last one. So before we get going, I wanted to personally thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend your week with us. So on behalf of the AFM and the team here, we thank you for doing that. I'd also like to thank our stage manager, Heather Porter, right here, the lady right here, who has been keeping me on task and just wrangling the panelists. I know that's not an easy thing sometimes. Jennifer Garnick, our VP of Communications. Our Head of Counsel, Legal Counsel, Susan Cleary. And also the ushers that are out there somewhere. So thank you. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the moderator, Chris Gore, who is the publisher for Film Threat.
Thank you.
So Chris is a comedian, writer, and founder of Film Threat, known for his work on G4 TV's Attack of the Show. He is the writer and producer of the feature comedy My Big Fat Independent Movie, and the author of several acclaimed books, including the Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide, widely regarded as an industry staple. Chris has appeared as a film expert on MSNBC, CNN, Reels Channel, and hosted shows on FX, Stars, and IFC. His writing has been featured in the New York Times, The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Spin, and Playboy.com. Please welcome Chris.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the intro. Most of that is factually accurate, but that's the only bullshit you'll hear on this panel is my bio. So thank you for that. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. If you are an indie filmmaker, I assume many of you are, go to filmthreat.com, submit your movie for review. We are Rotten Tomatoes approved, and we are all about supporting indie filmmakers. Film Threat started as a zine in 1985. That's why they call me the Ancient One. So 40 years ago, I started a zine in high school, and somehow I'm still doing that job. But let's get started. We're going to hit a bunch of topics for about more than half the panel, and we will get to your questions. We will get to your questions at the end. So if you use the app, you can submit questions. But everyone, I'm going to ask everyone here on the panel to introduce themselves and try to do as good a job as I did about bullshitting about my resume. Tom, why don't we start with you and we'll make our way down this way.
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting to go right away.
There you go.
I was going to just kind of play off of them. So hello, everyone. Final panel. Yes. My name's Tom Malloy. I was the owner of Glasshouse Distribution, but now the company was just acquired by Studio Dome and Entertainment Squad, and so yes. So I went from number 1 to number 2, but yes, I'm the COO of now Studio Dome, and so I've been in the movie business for 20 plus years. Started as an actor. I was kind of the first person that did that actor, writer, producer thing, but now moved more into producing. I produced 28 films. Glasshouse had 233 movies in their library. I've written 30 plus screenplays. I've been the Writers Guild for 20 plus years. And also I own filmmaking stuff. Any filmmaking stuff people out there? Yes, wow. That's great. And thank you so much. And I'm friends with RB, which means a lot. And yeah, man, just, now we have over 5,000 hours of content and we own Bloodstream. So things are, I love movies. There it is.
Very nice. I'm Rich Botto. Some of you might know me as RB. I'm the CEO of Stage 32, which is the world's... Any Stage 32 members? Amazing. If you're not on Stage 32, download the app, Stage 32. Go to stage32.com. It's the world's largest platform for connecting and educating film and television creatives and professionals worldwide, with over 1.3 million people on the platform, so be on it, it's free. For the purposes of this panel, I started as an actor as well, but then I wanted to be like Tom, so I became a producer and a writer also. So I've produced a ton of films and written a bunch of stuff, and I'm excited to be on this panel because we're also the education partner of AFM, Stage 32. So this is the 10th or 11th year we've been the education partner, my 14th year on this stage, and I know a lot of the people up here, and they're tremendous people and friends of mine, especially Chris and Tom and everybody else that I'm getting to meet again or I have met in the past. So you're in great hands tonight. Except for you.
All right. Hi, my name is Cecilia. Are you done? You got it? Hi, my name is Cecilia Brush. I am head of sales and distribution at Raven Banner Entertainment, where we focus primarily on genre films. I have been in this industry for about 10 plus years. I started being, just somebody walking around in the festival realm in Cannes, started as an intern and accidentally landed in my position that I am in today. Raven Banner oversees about 300 titles internationally, and then we also have 300 titles plus in Canada. And then we also do a lot of co-productions, productions, and stuff. So I have a little bit of everything to talk about.
Great.
Great. Applause.
Yeah, come on!
Hi, everyone. First, thank you to the AFM for having me here. It's a big deal for me. Thank you. My name is Martine Melloul. I hope you understand me despite my accent. I'm originally French. I've been in Los Angeles for a little bit over 25 years. I started here in the fashion business. So I was a fashion executive for most of my time in LA. And I switched career a little less than 10 years ago and just decided to become a poor independent producer. Yeah, I was making too much money in fashion. I was like, nah, life has to be harder than that. I produced so far 6 feature films. The last 4 are horror films, low budget, all of them. And I've produced about 20 plus documentaries and a couple of TV shows. That's it. Cali Pictures is the name of my company, and I hope we have a great panel.
I'm Paul Bales. I'm Chief Operating Officer and one of the partners at the Asylum. We're known for Sharknado. I'm sorry. Woo! We've produced over 300 films, and none of them are good.
But, Paul, let me say, but they're entertaining as shit. And I just saw a trailer for your documentary, Mockbuster.
Yeah.
It's coming out.
Yeah, it's actually not our documentary. We were approached by an Australian filmmaker, a documentarian, who wanted to make a documentary about making a shitty movie. And so he came to us and said, can I direct a movie for you? And, qualifications are not important to us at all. And so the fact that he had never made a movie before was not a problem. And so we hired him. He directed a movie in Australia, and they made a mockumentary or a documentary about that process. And it's going to premiere at the Santa Barbara Film Festival next year. So hopefully everybody will see it.
Mockbuster, the trailer is awesome. Speaking of shitty movies, Hollywood is in trouble. This October is the worst October at the box office since 1997. You would have thought, hey, it's October, Halloween, release a horror film. What is Hollywood thinking? So challenges are something that come with the territory making indie film. Hollywood is going through its own challenges, but indie film is uniquely able to pivot much quicker than Hollywood and address issues. Paul, why don't we start with you and go down this way? What are some of the new challenges you're facing in independent film?
Well, the biggest challenge is just that all of the different platforms that we used to rely on, DVD, traditional video on demand, television, have all disappeared. And so for the most part, for independent films, streaming is really all that's left. And it's kind of hard to see what the next iteration is going to be. So, but you know, we've changed many times. I've been with the Asylum for 18 years, and I think we've changed our business model 5 or 6 times during that entire period. So we'll do it again. I think it's going to be AI everything.
Okay, Martine.
So when I started in the business was less than 10 years ago. Already the DVDs was like almost dead already. The new growl was Netflix was buying a lot of independent films, which they're not anymore. So one of my main challenge is distribution, obviously. And I think that we need to learn how to do it ourselves. I haven't done it yet by myself. I actually did release theatrical film, very low budget, and we did really, really well a couple of years ago. It was called The Mean One. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's the parody on The Grinch. And we were 5 weeks in theater, which was completely crazy. But I think that we have to take the future of the film in our own hands and figure out, smart ways to do it and to distribute the films. Because that's, in the end, that's where, the real result of the film is. It's great to make a film, it's great, but if nobody sees it, then what's the point?
Cecilia.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off of what they said, it's definitely the value of rights has completely changed. You're not seeing a red box DVDs in Walmart anymore, or as much as you used to. So I think just kind of moving with that momentum and recognizing that this industry is very gray and things are forever changing, and it's gonna create an impact for sure. But I think if you always learn to pivot, it's really important. And I think that always looking for creative ways to bring value to what you do have access to, and kind of use that to progress.
Richard.
Yeah, I think, we always talk about the negative, right? I mean, I've been on this stage for 14 years, and every year we hear people go, oh my God, it's impossible, it's challenging, right? I saw an interview with Alex Winter the other day from Bill and Ted, and the person interviewing him said, how is it compared to when you first came in? And he said, it's just as fucking hard. He goes, it was hard back then, and it's still hard, right? So I like to focus on the positives, which are, there are more places to film than ever before. There are more incentives and rebates than ever before. It's cheaper to shoot than ever before. There are more opportunities to source an audience. I'm sorry, I'm Italian, so source sounded like sauce. There's more opportunities to source an audience. Yeah,
the sauce. You guys got to find the sauce.
You got to find the sauce. You got to find the sauce in the sauce. But you could source an audience more than you ever could before. Crowdsourcing is a big thing. Distribution, depending on what you're looking to do, there are myriad options that weren't there even a year ago. And that will continue to change. The dust is always going to be in the air. And if you can embrace that, idea, the fact that change is going to be constant and there's going to be new opportunities, then you're playing from a competitive advantage because you're playing as an optimist and not a pessimist. And then I will piggyback on what everybody else said here, is that knowledge is where it all lies, right? If you understand and you're staying on top of it and you understand what's happening in the industry, which is part of your job, which a lot of people don't realize, but it really is part of your job to know what's going on, then it's easier to be an optimist. And I feel like you're going to agree with this because you are one of the more flexible and malleable guys that I know in this business.
I thank you for mentioning crowdsourcing, because crowdsourcing is no. You know what? I'm gonna flip it and say I think October, or at least the recent past 3 or 4 months, have been super positive. You have movies like Sinners, you have Weapons, you have Oba, which was the best, one battle after another. And it was like, those movies are original movies. They're not stupid IP. Look, what Rich said was Arby said was so accurate. You should be learning this business and following it. If you read the dailies, anybody read the dailies, the email that comes 3 times a week? Yeah. And so in the dailies, I see a thing and it says, so-and-so was tasked with writing a Viewmaster movie. Viewmaster is that stupid red thing we had as a kid, and you flip through the discs, and The Viewmaster movie? What the hell is that? Like, how is that IP? And that's a stupid thing. So when you have movies like Weapons, like Sinners, like One Battle After Another, that are original movies, maybe October was just misscheduled, you know what I mean? But at least it gives it an idea that they're starting to go, you know, K-pop Demon Hunters, you know? And it was on, yes. I love it too. It was released on Netflix, and then it went to theaters after Netflix and still won the weekend. You know what I mean? People are so tired of the same, and I love some of the Marvel movies, but the Marvel DC BS and the IP. Forget the IP, like go with the original ideas, and that should be an inspiration to all of you.
Nice. A question about shooting in California. I saw Mel Gibson in a recent podcast talk about he needed to do 1 day of pickup shots. He was going to shoot in LA. It was cheaper to fly to Bulgaria and shoot for 3 days and fly the entire crew and put them up than it was to shoot 1 day in the state of California. So I ask you, Tom, we'll make our way this way. Where are you making movies, or where are you seeing movies being made other than the state we currently are in?
I was born and raised in Jersey. I'll always be Jersey born and bred. Thank you. But I love Los Angeles. I love it so much. Once I moved out here, I said I'm never leaving. And it's not just the weather. The bottom line is when you shoot a movie in LA, especially on the independent scene, you have so much more value that's not tax credits and other stuff. Like, meaning this, my kids, my son Tyler is there, he goes to Chapman. When they were little, I didn't want to go to Ohio for a month or Bulgaria for even a week, because my kids are right there. And the value of Los Angeles, where an actor will drive from Studio City to Beverly Hills to shoot your scene, is an easy layup. They'll do it. You know, so I always feel that you can get so much more value. And if your sound guy goes, hey, I'm not interested in this movie anymore, there are 30 freaking sound guys I can have in an hour to fill that spot. You cannot do that in anywhere else in this country or this world. So no, I love shooting in LA. I choose to shoot here when I can, if I can, and LA rocks.
Wow, am I going to come from another angle? Wow. No, I think it's great, though.
Let's move on to Cecilia.
I have produced, I think, 12 movies, or 12 to 15, and I've never done one in LA. The last 3 that I've been involved in were Colombia, Costa Rica, and North Carolina. And the reason why was just because it made sense financially. And we were working in the Costa Rica case with the government and so on and so forth. Here's what I could tell you. I'm not disagreeing with Tom if you could do it here and it makes sense, but that's the thing. It can make sense anywhere now. But, speaking to Tom's point about infrastructure, that's the big issue, right? So about 3 years ago, we launched Stage 32 certification. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but here's the basic gist of it. Film commissions are paying us, or they're either hiring us or partnering with us to train below-the-line workers in their areas in support of their rebates and incentives. That's to build up an infrastructure. And when I talked on the first, whatever the first question was about, shooting today and shooting independent films. When I said there's an embarrassment of riches, there is, because there are more countries, more regions, more, like some of the people that are paying us the most money are places like Pittsburgh and St. Petersburg and Edmonton. These aren't places that you would think of as film hotbeds, but this is what they're doing right now. They're trying to attract all this business that's being lost out here, but they have to have the infrastructure. So what I would say is, for you guys, that means that you have a massive, massive advantage, because you can go comparison shop, okay? And you can go see if some country's 40% is as strong as some countries' 30%, because that country that has 40% doesn't have the infrastructure, and you're going to have to bring everybody in, and then that 40% isn't 40% anymore. Maybe it's 28, maybe it's 26, right? But the point of the matter is that there are opportunities everywhere right now, and they're going to continue. We are getting calls every week from people from regions and states and countries that are being funded to support independent film right now. So, while I agree with Tom that it's great to be home and be in LA and everything like that, the whole world is wide open right now.
Man, I'm like, it is such a disadvantage. That was great. I'm in the middle, so it's like I agree. I mean, I had everything planned. You screwed this up for me.
We talked about this. We talked about this in the green room. You just have to say what he said.
Yeah. So what he said. Yeah. I think I definitely agree. If this is your hometown and this is where you're from, and I'm a big believer in using the tools that you have in your toolbox. And like you said, I mean, like, yes, LA could be much more expensive and the California dream and everything like that. But at the end of the day, yes, you do have all these options and all these other opportunities that, you know, that may kind of supersede the cost of what it would be. Now, with that being said, the beautiful thing about, oh my God, that's scary. Why'd you show me that? But one thing about what I do as far as like from a Raven Banner perspective is that we are really big believers in co-pros. Also, Raven Banner is based out of Canada, and Canada can't be beat when it comes to tax incentives and things of that nature. And so our company does about 3 to 5 films a year, and we use our tax incentive, again, using the tools that are in your toolbox that are available to you where you are. So I'm a huge believer in that. And again, they've already said what I need to say, and I know we got to pick up the pace. So your turn.
So I'm not Canadian, I'm French and American. So I'm lucky that I can shoot in both countries. I think that we're here on the panel about low budget, right? So everything is about the budget. You have to be very careful on that. And I think that you need to do what's best for your film and your budget. The challenge, I shot my second film in LA, and it was great because it was easy, but it was a very low budget. So it works for a very low budget because I can get favors because I know a lot of people. I feel like the mid-budgets are more difficult in LA, especially they just changed the California tax credit, which I think will be better, and I think will bring back some productions here, but some states are offering way more. I just shot my last film in France, where you get 30% tax credit. I think the minimum spend is $250,000, and you can pay people minimum wage. So it's like you pay your DP $120 a day if you want, if you can, if he accepts it, of course. And everybody's paid at the same rate, so you can get really that plus 30% credit. It's paradise. And they're very skilled, obviously, in France. But I like shooting in LA also. So it all depends on the film, on the budget. I actually like going away because it feels like camp for me. Like, you know, going to college at home and going home at night, or being able to be with your friends all the time. So I like that also. So but it all, you know, whatever's best for your film, and each film is very different. So that's what I think.
The Asylum has shot movies everywhere in the world, and we've made it work because we don't pay people very well, and
like me.
and we steal as much as we can.
I love your honesty. Nice. Yeah, big applause.
My favorite guy on this panel. Everything he says is awesome.
A question I didn't prep you with, but I want to get into real quick, because a movie was released in October, a horror film called Shelby Oaks, directed by Chris Stuckman, partially funded by a crowdfunding campaign, raised over $1 million, and then Neon came in, put in another $1 million. And I want to know what all of you think about crowdfunding campaigns, and also other companies such as Legion M, fan-funded, or Eli Roth announced a studio that he's doing where Robert Rodriguez is also doing a studio where they put out a slate of movies, and the fans who invest can decide what to make. And also, I made a film. My last film was made with a crowdfund. And if there are any filmmakers out there, go to filmthreat.com, click on contact. It goes direct to me. I'll send you this study a friend of mine did, who raised $300,000 for a documentary, that everything he learned by raising money on Kickstarter. I will send you the PDF. That's how you get in touch with me. So, but I want to know, starting with you, Paul, and then go over, like, what do you think of crowdfunds or these fan-funded companies? Are they viable? And any tips or tricks dealing with that?
I don't have a lot of experience in this. We crowdfunded one scene in Sharknado 2, and it was a lot of work. So I don't know that we would continue to do that.
It's like a 24/7 job, and it's like asking all your friends and relatives, how much money do you like me? And that's what crowdfunding is like. It's tears your soul apart. But anyone else who has a
It's not even land, it's give me, because you're not giving it back, right?
Right.
So I did a short film last year that we raised $50,000. And it was great, but it was a lot of work also. But I think that if you are a company like Rodriguez or I think it's Revolution who's doing that, right? With Sam Pressman also, and Legion M and all those companies, if they have the staff, right, to manage the campaign, because it's basically a 1 month crazy campaign 24/7, and they can reach their audience directly, and they have an audience that's specific to their films, and the audience participate. I think that in their case, the audience gets a return also. It's all like SEC ruling and everything. I think it's great. I think if you can do it, just
I can give a different opinion on crowdfunding. I mean,
Hey, it's my turn.
Oh, I didn't know we were going down the line. I thought you
Yeah,
said
we're going
anybody.
down the line.
Oh, shit.
Going down the line.
All right, well, then,
Cecilia.
whatever Cecilia says, I'm behind.
It's okay. You're gonna buy me a drink later. It's fine. No big deal.
Reference
It's okay.
crowdsourcing.
It's fine. I'm gonna sauce. No. Honestly, you can probably go, but my Raven Banner did a actually recently. Raven Banner came to. We were in a team meeting, and I was told that we were going to be doing crowdfunding for one of our films, and I'm gonna say this. My boss is probably in here. I told everybody I thought they were out of their minds, and there was no way. I was like, that movie is never going to get off the ground. Turns out that movie is actually here at market, and it is selling. So they used crowdfunding to be able to finance partially part of that film. And I watched one of my team members just absolutely crush it. And it is a lot of work. It is full time. I did not talk to him for months. And they figured it out, and they made it happen, and they made a freaking sick, kick-ass film. And that is Deathgasm 2. That is currently for sale right now internationally, and it is moving. So it can be done. You just, again, you have to be committed to it. And again, I can't help but to keep like reiterating this. You got to use the tools that are in your toolbox. And if you really want this and you really want to move forward, and again, just because you have a low budget and don't have a lot of opportunity, available to you like a studio would, you got to get creative. You got to pivot. You got to move forward and do what you need to do to get the job done.
You don't mind if I go, do you? This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. I actually gave a talk on crowdsourcing here back in, I think it was like 2015 or 16, and I ended up being hired to write a book for Focal Press Rutledge under the American Film Market banner called Crowdsourcing for Filmmakers. So the thing about crowdfunding is, so crowdsourcing is not the same as crowdfunding. I get a lot of people that come up to me and say, oh, you wrote a crowdfunding book. I did not. I wrote a book about crowdsourcing. Within that book, there are 2 chapters on crowdfunding because you can't have crowdfunding without crowdsourcing. So crowdsourcing very simply is identifying, engaging, and moving a crowd, okay? And that sounds pretty difficult, and it probably sounds like it takes a lot of time. That's what everybody here just said. It does. It takes a lot of time. But it's never, like I said earlier, been easier to source, said it right that time, a crowd, right? You have that opportunity, but it's a long game, and it's something that you have to have people become fans of you and your work. And it's a proving ground over and over and over again. So to answer Chris's question, like what do I think about Robert Rodriguez and stuff like that, that's they have a built-in crowd. People that have these companies, they have a built-in crowd. That does not mean that you can't have a built-in crowd or that you can't do it that way either. But you do have to understand that it is a very, like everybody said, it's a full-time job, and it is the type of thing where you need to be on top of your audience all the time and proving to them over and over again that you are worthy not only of their money, but of their time, you know what I mean, of their attention, because it is, an attention, the commerce today is attention, right? The commerce today is, clicks and views and so on and so forth. So it can be done. I think it's definitely a viable thing, but it's an investment of your time.
You can go, Tom.
You jerk. We're going to talk after.
Let's move on.
I'm not a fan of crowdfunding. I'm just not. I understand what he's saying about building fan bases. That makes sense. Build a fan base. Hell yeah. Crowdfunding is this. Years ago, my sister had a friend named Joe. We were still in high school, and he was out of high school. And he said, can I come over and practice my Cutco knives routine? He was working on his Cutco knives routine. Comes and pitches us on the Cutco knives, and then at the end goes, so which ones do you want to buy? And I'm like, oh, this jerk just like catfished us into buying a goddamn knife. And my parents had to buy a couple knives from this guy. And unfortunately, that's what crowdfunding is to most people that put it up there. Either they think they're going to put it up and in 30 days they're magically going to have their money, or they put it up and they ask their family, their friends, their mom, their dad. You know how many people have asked me for money for their crowdfunding? And it's like you're becoming Amway or Cutco knives and stuff like that. And that's not good, folks. The amount of effort you need to put in to get $50,000 of the crowdfunding, I could put that effort easily into getting a guy for $500,000. You know what I mean? Like I say, go after the high net worth individuals, the equity investors. Put that work into getting the long-term investors that you can use for other projects in the future. So you don't just keep going to your mom, hey, can I have another $10? Come on. Like, you're trying to do long-term investments. I'm not a fan.
But you got to look beyond like your friends and family. Like that's the whole point.
Most people don't, though.
Well, I'm going to say do it. Like look beyond your friends and family, like start to go out and do networking. I mean, there's other things that you can do. So yes, I totally agree with Tom, but I also think that you can go out there and do a little bit of both. And what's to say, like, it doesn't hurt. Like, what is it gonna happen? You're not gonna make any money on your crowdfunding or your crowdsourcing. I don't really know the difference.
But it's also infinitely easier, you're right, because it's infinitely easier if it's a subject that other people are into, right? The idea of building fans is not, you don't build fans for you first, you build fans for the project. That's the first step, right? So if people are into, I'll use an example really, really quick. There was a documentary called Mile and a Half. It was about these 6 cinematographers and 1 sound editor who were also health enthusiasts. They were going to go hike the Muir Trail, 200 days, whatever the hell it was. Only like 50 people get the permit to go do it, and the whole thing. They spent a year sourcing people that were either into film and wanted to see the natural beauty of this, into documentary, the health nuts, the nature nuts, and so on and so forth. And then they went out for a crowdsourcing campaign to $75,000, and they ended up raising about $180,000. And they were the only film in the history of the Los Angeles Film Festival that had overflow because people came to see it opening night. They invited all their investors, all the people that crowdfunding. But it was a very specific thing. But now when they went to go do their next film, they didn't even have to worry about the subject matter. People said they delivered, we're into you guys, we'll do the next one. So you got to know what the product is too. Like, what is the thing that you're trying to source?
I'll add one thing, is that beware of lottery tickets. Lottery tickets always get publicized. Paranormal Activities made for 15 grand and made 600 million. That's a lottery ticket, folks. You know how many people went and made their 15 grand movie because Paranormal Activity? And you're talking about Robert Rodriguez. The guy is huge. He's known around the world. Of course he's going to get the crowdfunding successful, and that gets publicized. And people think they could do it. Like these people with their documentary, what if they had searched for high net worth individuals for all that time? I don't know. That's all I'm saying is that, it's a tough game. The crowdfunding is not as easy as it looks.
For me, it's more viable for short films. Yeah. I think that
Yes,
for short
100%.
films that you don't commercialize, because really, what you're doing when you're crowdsourcing, there's 2 different things for me. There's the Roberto Rodriguez and all this, where they actually it's an investment, right? So it's controlled under the SEC. I invest $100 in this company. It's like me buying stock, right? And if the film does well, I'll get money back. So it's very different from asking people to give you money for free to get an autograph from my grandmother when the film gets out, right? So it's very different things. So when you ask money for free to people and you expect to make a film that you're gonna sell and make a profit, I don't feel that's very cool. When you do ask for money to crowdsource, right? And it's for a short film that will never make money, right? But it's to show that you know how to produce, how to to direct, to act, whatever, then I feel like, people supporting you, and that's, for me, is okay. So I think we have to make the difference between...
Or get creative if you need to make, you want to do your feature and you want to start doing with a short film to be able to kind of support where you're going, like that's an option too. You got to think outside the box, you got to think with the tools you got. Like I cannot stress that enough, so yeah, that, I mean, we could keep going, but I'm sure we have to keep
Well,
move on.
one really
I'm
quick
here.
thing, though, that I think is very important, just from a legal standpoint, equity crowdfunding. If you're going to go down that road, make sure you're covering your asses, because equity crowdfunding is very different than, rewards-based crowdfunding. So I think that's important to make that distinction.
And last question I have for the panel before we go to your questions in the audience here is about AI and how it's affecting indie film. Yesterday, Bob Iger announced the Disney Plus platform. Users will be able to make their own stories using AI. If you, maybe Tyler knows about this, your son, Tom. He's on TikTok, as all kids his age are on TikTok. I'm sure you've seen the Pixar films on TikTok, the sort of raunchy, weird Pixar movies. I'm sure that's not what Disney Plus will be used for, but AI is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. How will it affect indie film? Where do you see it going? It's a big open-ended question. I want to hear all your thoughts. Tom, we'll start with you and come down this way and then go to audience.
I'm not familiar with AI. Is that is it technology?
You're
No, I'm just
joking.
no, I'm kidding. Look, I think it'll ultimately be a tool. What do I use it for? A lot of things. ChatGPT, use a lot of things. It's like, how about a breakdown for, the cast directors used to put a character breakdown? You could do that in 30 seconds now. Upload your script to ChatGPT and then say, give me a character breakdown. It spits it out. And it's like, you used to take hours and hours to do those things. So it's an efficiency tool, in my opinion. As far as making movies go, it's a little scary. It's a little scary for us creative people. I just had a movie dubbed in AI, and it was pretty damn good. And so it'll get there. I think that, there'll be a point where you'll make your movie and you'll be able to hit a button and you'll have 100 languages, with even the mouths moving. But hopefully there'll be controls in place where they don't just, the truth is tough to come by these days, you know what I mean? And there'll be some kind of stamp that okay, this is certified that it's not AI, so you're not just fooling the mass idiots in the world, And so it's a tool. It's just like, remember when 3D was so big and everybody meant to make a 3D film? Look, I think AI is a bigger revolution than that. I think you could use it now. I think you should learn it now and apply it, but being able to say, write me a story about, 5 people on a panel and go, or 6 people. Obviously, the computer counts better than I do, but that's not what you should be using it for, at least at this time.
I agree with all. I agree with all of it. It's a utility right now. As a writer, I don't use it to write. I use it to brainstorm and to research, shorten the path, to figure out some things and things like that, but never to write. And I don't think it's there, and I don't know if it'll ever totally get there from that perspective. I think that yes, it's going to be a utility that's going to bring costs down. I think in post-production, I have really, really good friends that run post-production houses that have said that really at the end of the day, what it's done is it's shortened the path, but we need people that know how to use it. And that's the great thing, is that we're, the people that know how to use it are the real benefit to us, right? So the thing that nobody talks about when we talk about AI is the audience. And I don't know what the audience appetite is for AI created material and films and stuff like that. I don't know if the audience wants that. So I really personally believe, I don't think people want to go see an AI version of one battle after another. I think they want to go see one battle after another and see P.T. Anderson making the film that he wanted to go make, not something they fed into a machine and this is what got spit out. That's my opinion. I know I certainly sure as hell don't want to see that. So I think there's going to be a leveling off. I think, as we know, everything today is hype, hype, hype. The media overplays everything, and everything is, either gloom or doom and sky is falling and all this happy horse shit. I really think it's just going to level off at a certain point, and I think that you will have AI-generated material. I'm not dumb enough to say that that's not going to be the case, but I don't think you're ever going to replace the human element.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think it's going to replace the human element. I don't think it's going to replace the creativity that comes from, a touch from an actual creative. I think that, again, like Tom said, I'm giving you props here. Like Tom said, it is a tool. I think that it's used to, if we're talking about low budget films and having a big vision, I think that using AI as that tool to kind of speed up the process to give you that like creative edge or that edge that you need to be able to compete with the films that are up there. Maybe you don't have the biggest team, but you are going to be able to make a little bit more of a higher impact on the quality level because you're going to have access to that tool to be able to help you brainstorm, to help you do your screenplays, to make sure that your pitch decks looks good. It's pulling information much faster than you could in an 8 days of doing research. So I think if you look at it from that perspective and implement that, I think that's going to help you level yourself up as a filmmaker, as a creative, and then kind of take it from there and push your project forward.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I love tech, and I'm a little bit of a nerd. For me, I hope AI is, it's more for efficiencies. It's gonna help hopefully bring down budgets. If you do VFX AI, might be much cheaper than doing the VFX with someone rotoscoping for 5 days, and they can do it in very, very fast. I don't think it's gonna replace the creative. It's not gonna replace the human, not yet. I think we'll be dead by the time it gets there.
Then it won't be our problem.
Exactly. Yeah. But for now, I just, I'm using it as a tool. The ChatGPT, the Soras, the Midjourneys, create images. The pitch decks look better than ever.
Oh yeah.
You just have to be careful not to gravel too much. I mean, sometimes I just get like into the ChatGPT and I can't get out. It's like, do you want this? And do you want this? And do you want this too? And I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it. And I keep like, it keeps asking me, right? And then you're like 3 hours later, you're like, oh my God, I just wanted a spreadsheet. I didn't want all that shit. So it's you have to be careful not to go down the rabbit hole. But for me, it's tool. Like, just use it as tool. You can't be scared of it. You have to embrace it because that's where the world is going. So we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice.
And really quick to add on to that, the tool, again, it's a tool. Do not, please, please, please do not use it verbatim. Use it to kind of give you a starting point and jumping from there. The amount of emails, I'm just going to do a PSA. If you send me an email from AI, I will know. I will know, and I will not read your email. So please, make sure that you are implementing the human element to it.
The phrase is human in the loop. That's the key.
Oh, human in the loop?
Human in the loop.
Oh, I'm
That's
going to be
what they say.
human in the loop. We got to start saying that. Yeah.
I, for one, welcome our robot overlords.
Thanks, Paul. My quick take is I think that AI movies will evolve into a genre, like anime. There'll be AI movies and there'll be other movies, and the human element will not go away because I think that's what people crave. But AI will be a genre, another genre, like on the shelf.
I've seen it. I was actually in Busan in Korea this past summer, and I saw the creation, and they're starting to showcase a lot of these AI films. But behind it, when they would showcase them, they would show you all of the work and the effort and the creative elements that were having to be implemented, not because the machine made it itself or this AI tool, but because they took the time to really give it a vision, and that vision just happens to be created electronically. So yes, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Let's go to audience questions. Some of your questions are really good. There's one really bad one here from a guy named Tim. Exactly. Let's start with Carol. So I'm going to ask the question, Tim. I'm going to ask the question. Anyone that wants to jump in, please do. This is from Carol. Any suggestions to solve the chicken and egg problem concerning finding funding and stars? For anyone.
Go ahead, Tom. You want to answer all the questions.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, Tom, tell us.
Come on.
All right. Chicken or the egg, baby? What is it?
Thank you, Cecilia, for that beautiful intro. I think you should follow Filmmaking Stuff and Filmmaking Stuff HQ. Let's hear it. Or Stage 32. Come on, give a little love. I think, look, what I'll tell you, the secret to making the bigger movies, we have a course on development funding. That is the way to do it. You raise, I talked to a friend of mine I'm working on a project that produced Get Out and Black Klansman. I said, how much did you have for those movies? He said, $100,000 for Get Out, 120 for Black Klansman. 120,000, that's it. The difference, 20,000 was to license, to option the book. So development funding, where you can raise 30, 40,000, and then get your things in order. You know, I always pitch, add more value to the project, add a director, add a business plan, add things to the, you know, get a casting director, make those offers, make things look good, and you develop that project to where you've added the value. Now you make the offer to the star, because now you've partnered with a producer, you've partnered with a director that has that gravitas to pull that star in. So that's how you do it. You just start by building it small and just add on top of that, add more value. Suddenly the movie gets made.
Sorry, can I jump in?
No.
So that's the bane of my existence, is the chicken and egg. I think that it depends who you are, who was asking the question, but I think that partnering with a producer who has the relationships, because you can have the best package, you will not go, you can send your email to the agents, they will never answer.
No, I'm saying partnering. I said that,
Right,
yeah,
so,
partnering.
So the
is
most
key.
important what is really partnering with someone who has the relationships to be able to get your package through. So obviously the package has to be good, you have to, you know, have a great script, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that's the best thing. The challenge, I think, in the US is that the first question you get asked is your film financed? And most of the time it's not, because you need the star to finance your film. And that's really the big problem. And unless you lie, which I don't advise, it's very difficult. And that I still haven't found out. So I'm doing a lot of films in France, because in France, agents understand that you cannot get the financing unless you have the stars. So first, they answer your emails. That's really cool. And number two, they read the package and they give you kind of an LOI or something like that, so that you can go to your financiers and find your money. And this, I don't know how to change this here. These gatekeepers, the agents that you can't reach the actors, and so many of them don't even bring the project to the actors. How many times it happened that I sent a project and then I meet the actor, I don't know how, but I meet the actor and I said, oh, I sent you that project, it was so good. I said, I never heard of it. That happens all the time. And it's a problem because it's their duty to bring the package to the actors. So I don't have a solution for you except that partner with someone who has those agency relationships, because you have to go through the agents. Sometimes maybe talk to the managers. I just heard a good one last time that said, send it to the lawyers because they have to give it to their clients. So maybe that's a good one. Or if they have a French or British agent, go through them because they answer the emails.
Here's a question from Adam. Is there an audience for independent R-rated rom-coms, and how can that be marketed?
I only sell scary movies. Your turn.
I mean, would you argue? I would argue that there's a market for anything. I would argue that, you know, again, it comes down to the package. What Tom just talked about, instead of saying the actor or the money or whatever, it's what Tom talked about. I call the NWAT philosophy of putting something together. I have a script, and what? I have a script and a director, and what? I have a script, a director, and some development funds, and what? Okay? Ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think it's an R-rated rom-com or if it's a PG family film. I think at the end of the day, is it a viable project? Is it something that buyers are going to be interested in? Is it an attractive package? Those are the things that really matter more. I think people get too wrapped up in chasing the market or being told what is working or what's not working. Quite frankly, if we're talking about rom-coms 6-7 years ago, we were talking about how rom-coms are dead. And then one came along, it might have been more recently, but then you had, I think Anything But You was R, right? And I think, and what's the one with Jennifer Lawrence, which wasn't really like a rom-com, but kind of a rom-com, thank you, No Hard Feelings was R. Those are R-rated movies. Doesn't mean they're making 10 more of them, but it means that they made them, right? If there was a package and something that was appealing to that. So can I just say, go make your fucking movie.
No, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Go make your movie. There's an audience for
More!
Yeah. You know what? But historically, action is the first thing out of every buyer's mouth. What are you looking for? Action. The first thing they say. And then they go maybe sci-fi, horror, thriller. So yeah, there are genres that are easier to sell. I always tell people the ones never to make are the edgy comedy and the edgy drama. that's what every independent filmmaker wants to make, you know? And it's like, if you take that, we just made a comedy, like a crazy over-the-top fun comedy. And I made sure I'm like, not one F word, not one thing, not one curse. I wanted this as family as possible because they're easier to sell. We've had family dramas, no names, and sold the hell out of them. But the second they're super edgy, F words and cocaine and this and that, it's just impossible to sell.
Okay.
Sorry.
I mean, it's okay. I thought I'm gonna step in. So there's gonna be an audience for everything everywhere. Is it gonna sell? You're gonna make $1,000 billion? Maybe not. But if you give it, am I allowed to curse? If you care about what you're doing and you're passionate about your project and you go out and you make it, you can find us. You can find a good sales agent, or maybe you decide to distribute it yourself. Whatever the case may be, there is an audience out there. It just depends on how hard you want it, like how hard you want to work for it, how bad you want to get out there and fight for it. And that's, it just really depends. So yeah, but it is tough. But I mean, yeah, you can make something that's easier to sell for sure. I mean, that's a given. But if you really care and you really want to make your R-rated drama, comedy, horror, blah, 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 then you can do that.
Question from Justin. If distribution is becoming more democratized, what strategy do you recommend for first-time genre feature filmmaker to approach buyers, especially if filmmakers should have a strategy before they even start shooting?
Holy shit, okay.
You definitely need a strategy.
Yeah.
You need to know your audience. That's number one, is you need to think about the end first. So I see so many filmmakers that they want to make their movie and then they don't know what to do with it. So I also help filmmakers find distribution and sales agents. That's why I'm saying that. So you need to think about the end before you even start. So where is your film going? Who's the audience? Who are you making it for? And that will inform everything else. So that's my...
You also... Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, I was going to say, I mean, I think I really respect and appreciate those who have a film at a development stage or, perhaps, almost going into production, and they come and reach out to me and they say, hey, I want to know more about what you're doing. You sell genre. What are the buyers looking for? Can you take a look at my script? What do you think I should add in? What's selling, what's not? Because at the end of the day, you only are able to wear one hat, right? And so I'm really good at doing the sales side of thing, and you're probably really good at being the creative and the director or the producer or the script writer of that project. And I think that if you network and you build up your knowledge base of what's out there and what's available, you can kind of perfect what you're doing. And that kind of goes back to your question of like, what do you do first, chicken or the egg type vibe. It's like, it's really about piecing things together to make a perfect project that is, sellable in the marketplace. So like you said, starting, to start, you need to think about the end game and where you want to go, and then kind of implement those points so you can progress.
I think that the best advice I can give is what I do for my projects is, because I lost a lot of money on my first film.
I'm so
I didn't
sorry
do
to
it.
hear that.
But you first take your project to a sales agent or a distributor, and you ask them how much it's worth. And that's because for me, I'm more of a financial business producer. So you ask them, how much should I make this for so that, I don't go into the wall and I don't lose my investors' money. Based on the genre, based on the story, the level of cast you can get, they will give you an answer. You take that answer, you divide by 2, and that's your budget.
I've never heard this math before, but I like it.
Trust me. No, because you know what? I have to tell, filmmakers here. When you get projections from sales agents, right? And you get your low and your high and your middle number, nobody tells you that you guys put numbers in each of those territories, but really 70% will sell. And then many of them will sell under the low. So what I do, just to be safe, because I'm traumatized by losing money on my first film. So I'm very, very careful now.
She's not wrong.
I take the lower number, because I love it when people come say, oh, they promised $1 million, that's the higher number. I never look at that. Take the lower number, take out 50% if you want to be sure. Okay, 30% works also, and then that's your budget. But you can't, don't look at anything else. I mean, really.
No, actually, that's I'm pretty kind of shocked that you said that out loud. But yes, no, she's.
I have to.
I was like, oh my God.
Listen, I have to give people.
No, but
real
honestly,
advice.
this is like, if you take anything away, it's being realistic. If you take anything away, go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
It's brilliant. But
Tom.
ultimately, filmmakers don't want to see that. We have lost films to companies that gave BS projections.
Agreed, 100%.
Because we've given them accurate projections. And they want to see, I'm going to get $6 million off of this. BS. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, that sounds great, and it is what you should be doing. I agree.
Yeah,
but they want to see the sky.
And the sales agent, again, and I know sometimes sales agents and agencies and companies get a bad rap because we're the predator and we're out to get you. No, not necessarily. There's companies that are going to show you what you want to hear, and then there's companies who are going to be realistic with you and honest with you, and you just have to decipher what that is and what that means to you and what you want for your brand and your project and where you're headed with your career.
Peter asks, what do you think about vertical films and additionally the future of cinema on the second screen? I saw an article recently about Netflix telling producers, we know that people fold laundry watching our shows, so we want to make sure they understand. So clearly state at every turn exactly what's happening so you don't have to look at the TV and watch. It's on in the background. But what do you think of vertical cinema? Yeah,
Paul, say something.
Yeah, Paul.
Okay, I'll say something.
Vertical shark.
I think it's probably better if people don't watch our films and are folding laundry. They definitely tend to do better. As far as verticals are concerned, I don't know what to say. If kids are too lazy to turn their hands sideways, I don't.
I think.
I don't
It's
know
a
how to
different public. I think it's another type of food. I think that it's fast food. I think I would compare maybe verticals to fast food.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's a new way of watching things. It's a new way. I think it's an opportunity. You can use verticals to your advantage. You can create a short that kind of feeds into maybe your crowdfunding, and then that turns into something else. Or maybe you're just using that to kind of build up your resume. Or again, there's so much opportunity and growth, and it's vibrant and it's exciting because we're finding a way to use the tool, again, the damn tools we have, guys, using them to our advantage.
I think it's good as putting people to work, but at the same time, I think it's the competition for short form content is insane, and I think that there's going to be a settling with this as well. I think that you're going to have a few companies. Obviously, we have a few out of Japan that are really killing it right now, and they'll continue to probably kill it. But I think we learned with things like Vine and with other things, and with what was the one that went through the? Thank you, Quibi, who went through the floor and everything like that. That there's an appetite and there's an inventory of how much people can consume this shit. So I think it's viable for right now, and I put people to work, and I think it's a good thing to flex your muscles on and maybe write something short. But at the end of the day, I just think it's going to be another form of short form content that's just going to slip in the cracks.
There are tropes in it, but the key is, what are the kids watching? My son, I remember he had, watching stuff on his phone and his computers, and we were talking about his room. I said, you want to get a big TV in here? And he says, no. I go, why do you want to? It's like, because he's watching his phone, he's watching his computer. So you kind of got to go with what the kids are doing, and they're watching TikTok, which is vertical. So they're used to vertical, So I think the problem is the tropes and the stupid cliffhangers. You're my brother. I'm a vampire. Like every 90 seconds.
And then you have to rush to find the other stuff.
Yeah,
it's like, where's episode 3? Where's episode 3? And you're like, digging. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no stars. Like Quibi was a mistake because they were paying all this money, and people, but that's the can of worms. But what I'm saying is the kids want to watch vertical.
Well, and the Quibi audience was for a different audience. It was for an older audience, so which didn't want.
And right now it's bringing jobs to Los Angeles. I think a lot of people are living off those
Yeah.
productions, so I guess it's good.
Can't begrudge people going to work.
I think the kids want to watch Skibbity Toilet, if you know what the Skibbity
Oh my
Toilet
gosh, I
is.
freaking
They're
hate
selling the toys at Costco, don't laugh, and they're making a movie of that. So it's mesmerizing. We only have time for one final question. Apologize to everyone I didn't get to your question. Ofer asks, this is the best panel yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Ophir.
It's not a question, but thank you. Woo!
If that was a question, we're offended. If that was a statement, we're very.
Here's the question. Can you be specific about the kind of budget ranges you are working with while still maintaining high quality? not B movies. No offense, Paul. And how can independent filmmakers approach you without a rep? So I guess maybe,
That's a really big question for literally a
big.
minute 15, 14, 13.
Yes. Maybe start with Tom and come back.
Go fast, go.
How can they approach?
High level points.
What's your email?
Tom, announcer.
Give my email.
Tom's phone number.
Yeah.
Hold on, where's my phone?
Budget ranges and how can people reach you and or your company professionally or follow your work?
Okay, yes. Tom Malloy on Instagram, filmmaking stuff. The company, is now Studio Dome, but if everybody knows David Josh Lawrence, he's the person you should be submitting your films to. If you're looking to sell your film, go to the person that says acquisitions, VP of acquisitions, manager of acquisitions. That's their job, to watch your movie.
Great.
What are we saying right now? Where can they find us? Where can they find us? Stage32.com. You will get an automated message from me on your wall. That's the only thing that's ever automated. I will respond to you if you respond to me. On Instagram and Twitter, I am, or X, whatever the hell we're calling it today, it's RB walks into a bar. RB, me, walks into a bar.
You just added me recently, didn't you? You can just Google me. That's probably the best way to find me. And then as far as, what was the question, quick? Budget ranges. Budget ranges.
Of films you...
It's hard to say. I mean, if you can guerrilla style it and do something really amazing and make it work, I'm sorry, I'm still talking. And you can make anything from anything. I've seen it all. I mean, obviously, there's a certain threshold where, don't go saying that you need $36 million to make your film. But yeah, I think you're capable of anything and everything, and then again, we're all Googleable. So.
I think that as long as the script is solid, you can make a good film for very cheap. I saw really good film last month that was made for $75,000, and it was just like, I was blown away by the quality of the film. Obviously, they got a whole bunch of things for free, and they paid the minimum and everything, but the script was solid and the story was great. So I think as long as you have a solid script, you can make your film for whatever amount. I made my second film for $80,000, I think, or $100,000, and it was distributed all over the world, and we made a lot of money.
At the Asylum, our average budgets are about $250,000. We can go up to $4 million, but we generally don't acquire outside projects unless it's really shitty, and then we might consider it.
Great. Well, I want to say thank you so much for your honesty, great answers. Big round of applause. Now let's go to the bar and pay too much for drinks. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was fun.